All right, looks like I'm live. Well, I'm up. It is 5:09 in the morning. I had a little bit of trouble getting the stream started, so anyway, I'm gonna try doing these a little bit differently. Instead of just rambling on about all of the stuff I got going on, I'm just gonna talk about maybe one or two things and kind of the main focus for the day or the week. So, um, the big thing that I've been looking at, I mentioned the 12-week year. The planning has been really hard, and I was thinking about just what to focus on. And I'm probably going to just start my 12-week year next week. And I'm a little bit, embarrassed that I haven't started it and that I've been talking about it. But um, anyway, so the 12-week year this time is going to be about basics. Because I was talking to some friends last night, and one of my friends is in a startup that he and somebody else co-founded like 2 years ago. And they've got a bunch of people working for him now, and they're doing a whole bunch of cool stuff. But they haven't shipped their product yet. And he was talking about how all of the business stuff gets in the way of the product stuff, and I kind of identified with it a little bit because there are things that I want to do on the product side or just the outreach side and the serving people side that I haven't been able to do because the business stuff, so to speak, keeps getting in the way. And it's stuff that I've been doing for a long time and I really should have under control. So it's things like the podcast production, and I've talked about some of the issues there. Sponsorship management and just some of the issues there as well. Um, if I don't get those things figured out, then I have a revenue problem because I'm not serving the people who are paying me to do stuff for them. If I have a podcast production problem, then I'm not delivering and, I'm not doing what I need to be doing. So, anyway, so I'm getting back to the basics, and I'm just getting things to the point where they are happening somewhat automatically, right? So that when I record an episode, it just goes out so that I don't have to babysit it or monitor it or whatever. And if there is a production issue, so it's not going live the way I want, then I get notified and I don't have to be surprised that no episodes went out this week. So, just getting down to those things and getting them so that they're mostly automated and mostly just working, it's going to take people doing a lot of the work. So when I say automated, it mostly means delegated to people who are reliable. And so that's what I'm focused on here for the next few weeks. I have a few other things that are going on that are going to take some of my attention, like Ruby Dev Summit. But I'm not going to. I've kind of backburnered everything else. So I had a big long list of all the other stuff I wanted to do, and I may do some of the Kickstarters here within the next week or two, but it's going to be around the main focus, and that's just getting the podcast production and the sponsorship processes nailed down and making all that work. So I'm probably just going to hire a product or project manager. That's kind of the direction I'm heading. Somebody who can keep track of all that stuff, because I have proven that I'm not very good at that. And then what I can do is I can focus on making great content and being kind of the person behind the content. And so I'm just focusing on the core thing that we do, the big thing that makes the difference for people. And once I have that under control, then I can start looking at some of these other things and I can work on them without getting sidelined by all of the stuff that should be pretty automatic by this point. Now, I didn't really have this problem about a year ago, and it was because I was essentially paying Mandy to do a lot of this stuff. And she was good at it. She just did it. She managed it or just did it, depending on what part of the process that it was. But the issue is that she was also doing things that I didn't necessarily need her to do, and so she was working on low value or lower value things when I could have had her working on higher value things. And that was actually at the core of some of the issues that we wound up having before she left. But anyway, that's where I'm at. So I'm just going to get those issues nailed down. That's what I'm working on this week, is just making sure that that stuff happens, and then we'll pull it together and get crap going. I'm also going to be working the sponsors angle pretty hard. I did have a sponsor that didn't renew, that I was wondering if they were going to be if we're being honest. But that means that I've got to go out there and hustle some more work up as well. I've got a few other companies that want to sponsor, and I have a few companies that owe me for sponsorships that are currently running. So, I shouldn't be in terrible shape money wise. The last time I got paid by a sponsor, a lot of that money went to just getting caught up from the summer, because the summer was kind of slow. We're not in terrible shape. I've got enough money in the bank for another month or so. So having next month's money in the bank is somewhat relaxing, but it also does mean that I have to go out there and really hustle, because the money that's going to come in to pay for the next month, if this money just winds up having to pay for the upcoming month, is going to come in from the work I do now. So we'll get out there and we'll bust it out, and we'll get it going. I would really like to get some products together too, but like I said, I've got to get this other stuff figured out first. And so what I'm kind of hoping happens is that between myself and whoever I hire to help me manage the projects of podcast production and sponsorship management, that solves a lot of those issues, right? Because they can still loop me in to get involved, and they're going to have to for the first little while, just to, okay, how do we do this? How do we do that? But once we're done, once we're there, then then I can focus on building some of these products. And I've talked to some people about some of my ideas, and they get excited about them, but I don't have time to implement them because the basics aren't in line. And, at this point, that's what the business does. And so if the business isn't doing what it does, then, then it's not going to work. So anyway, all that said, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. But yeah, the main focus at this point is just getting the core things that we do back in line. And then once we have those things back in line, and I think a lot of people, entrepreneurs and just people in general, it's like, yeah, what is the core thing that I'm about? What am I here for? And I think if you can answer that and then be good at that, then the rest of it will start to solve itself. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. And I'll probably just talk about some other big idea going on tomorrow. Maybe something around setting this up or hiring a project manager or anything like that. But anyway, that's kind of where we're at. That's what we're doing. So, yeah, we'll catch you tomorrow.